Welcome to Gear Shift, a podcast dedicated to all aspects of vehicle ownership with your hosts, Christof and Kacper.
When I move, you move.
How about that?
When I move, you move.
How about that?
When I move, you move.
How about that? Catch me on star. How about that?
Alrighty, we're back.
Get that from? that took a lot of time and dedication.
That did. Well, we're back. We're live.
What up,
Instagram. Welcome to Gear Shift, episode 4. This is the transmissions episode. I'm Christof, joined as always by.
My name is Tony Tutos. I like the way you talk on this show. It's fucking nice.
He's got 2 toes.
It's Kacper. What up, everybody?
And we have a special guest here.
Emphasis on the special.
Yeah. There's a musk. Do you smell the musk?
Do
you smell the lack of the mustache?
I just smell pure manhood.
And I feel it deep down. We have Kevin here. Kevin Weslowski.
What's going on?
The human DSG.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah. So, we're glad to be back. We're trying a couple new things out here. Instagram Live, the audio quality should be a lot better. So, and we are able to monitor the live feed a lot nicer too. So we're going to be keeping a better track.
Let me just say that I am just super impressed with the whole setup. I like the everything amazing
Except for the
poverty mixer. But I'm here with the Gear Shift boys, and I feel like I've made it finally.
Hey, for 14 years old, that mixer is actually pretty nice.
Dude, you're hitting it hard.
You're
hitting it hard.
We made it.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah. So we have one sponsor that keeps this shit show going, and that's the Bearded Detailer.
Oh God, is this my cue to talk you up right now? Is that what it is?
Do whatever you want.
No, all jokes aside, everybody. The Bearded Detailer is located in the Center Valley, and he has some amazing equipment, let me tell you. Fantastic dealer, offers Laminex products. He is a licensed or certified. It's more certified,
Nope,
right?
not certified. There's a difference between authorized and certified.
So
Not
he's
certified,
an authorized Optimum product installer. OptiCode. Well, Optimum line. Optimum line. I feel like everybody calls it the Optimum line.
That's the
Opti
order.
for sure.
Yeah.
Opti. So the authorized Opti installer and also an authorized Laminex installer
And dealer. That's
along
right.
with OEM and aftermarket parts for your vehicles. So if anybody's interested, look them up on Instagram, Facebook, all the goodies.
Twitter.
Yeah.
And I have a promo code just for this show and anyone who watches the
Boom.
show. Gear Shift. If you use the promo code Gear Shift on my website, thebeardeddetailer.com, and the swag store it's called. So if you'll get 10% off your order. And I believe free shipping? I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that.
Yeah, check with the manager.
You might want to talk. You want to talk to the manager.
I'll talk to the owner on it.
I'm a little upset that douchebag didn't tell you, but whatever.
He's got that I want to speak to your manager haircut.
He does.
It's like off to the thigh.
With the minivan and the 3/4 capris. Facts.
Oh wow! See, this is the kind. This is where it's at.
This is really nice.
This is fantastic. So yeah, we have a little bit of a new audio setup. We want to make sure you guys keep getting better quality. Listening.
It seemed like we were kind of going back and forth through the first 3 episodes, and Christof was spending a lot of time editing, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a lot better than when we recorded, but it still wasn't where it needed to be.
Essentially,
I agree. Yeah, the first episode wasn't like too hot, but I can definitely tell there's some changes.
No,
the
quality-
second and
quality should
third
definitely be
episode, so
better.
nothing but getting better. So
Yeah,
props
so-
to y'all
well,
for that.
the big thing was editing time. The better quality you put in, the less I have to do on the back end, which is
true.
the important part. The last episode with 3 of us, it took me probably about 12 to 20 hours of editing.
Shit.
It was ridiculous, man.
So long story short, dump the money and be lazy is what
It's
it is.
worth it. Do it right or do it twice.
Work smarter, not harder.
It's the way it is. It goes with everything. It goes with cars, life, everything. So, and we're having a little beverage.
Yeah.
Another adult beverage episode.
It is. What do we have? We have Belgian doubles, correct?
So yeah, you guys have the Dupels.
What do you have?
Doubles. I have the Dunkelweizen.
Oh,
Let me have some.
dick.
It's very good.
It's good. Everything's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me try that.
No.
This table is amazing. Let me.
Sorry, you have.
No, I have a Belgian. I have to have
Okay.
Belgian.
Well, anyway, these are home brews. These are from my friend Zach. I made a trip down to him this week.
Oh.
Everything's
Yeah.
mad nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives down near Downingtown, which is near Victory Brewing. So I also stopped at Victory when I was down there. But he makes some fantastic beers,
man.
man. Everything I've had from him has been fantastic. So big props to Zach. I was deployed with Zach. So that's how I know him. And him and his wife they're good people. They're good people. I mean, anyone who can make beer like this is
No, it's quality for sure.
good people. So let's
Moving-
get
moving
right
right
down
on
to the
in.
nitty gritty. Kevin, how are you today?
Oh, I'm so good.
Yes.
I didn't get drunk last night. I thought I was going to be hungover for this, so I am just tip-top shape.
Which is why you're morning drinking.
Exactly.
This is
Get
actually
right back
this
on
is
that
actually
pony.
my breakfast. I
Yeah.
don't, whatever. It is
Drinking
what it is.
breakfast is okay. We do have two people on Instagram. We got
Ooh.
TG and we got Pavel Zielinski.
Ooh, oh, Pavel's on.
Pavel's
What?
on, yeah.
What up? What up? What up?
Shouldn't you be working?
That's my roommate / barber. No, he's actually off today.
Off to a Saturday off?
Word.
Shame. I need a haircut, bro. I'll be seeing
Siema
you.
Pawełek, witam.
Hopefully next week I'll see you. But anyway, thank you all for listening. Obviously, last week's episode got a lot of support and
Definitely.
I'm
Fantastic. We cleared. What was it? What was it? I forgot.
over
the number.
200 downloads within 24 hours. I was
Yes.
really
Nice.
Really
yeah,
appreciate
I
it.
was
Thank you,
really
everybody.
pumped about that. So, which makes it the highest downloaded episode ever. So
So
let's
far.
let's
This
so
year,
far
even.
So far.
this
Wow.
year. So let's crush those numbers with Kevin.
Yeah.
Because Alex seems to think that the numbers are high because he was on the show.
Ooh.
So
So
we
friendly
just up the
competition
ante
here.
here.
Facts. So
I'll take care of that.
So let's kick it off like we would with any guest.
Yep. So Kevin, tell yourself a little bit about yourself, and don't worry if you miss anything. I'll be sure to fill in the blanks.
Oh, good. All right, so
and also let us know how you got into cars. That's the big thing we're
Right.
doing with everybody.
Wait, Kevin's a car guy?
I'm a car.
Really?
Should I start how I got into cars, I guess?
Yeah,
and
man.
then I'll say what I do for a living.
Yeah,
and-
sure, why
and
not?
There you go.
whatever.
Yeah.
All right. I want to say high school, somewhere around there. My grandfather's probably a car guy. I got it most from him. He'd have like Auto Weeks. You remember Auto Weeks? Like you get the little,
Yeah.
really tiny
Yeah.
magazines that'd come out every week. So he would get them, and I'd just like flip through the pages, like looking at supercars and like blah blah blah. So I guess you can say I started with that, and like the whole Fast and the Furious thing kind of like caught my eye, obviously. And
The judgment in Christoph's eyes.
he's
right
like, just wait for it. So,
Were you a Dom guy?
dude,
now. That fucking eclipse, though, man.
Dude.
That eclipse that he had.
No, Jesse. You were Jesse
Oh, God.
with the two.
hush, let me finish.
With the Jetta.
Let me finish.
With no calipers.
So,
Go on.
I didn't get my license till I was like 18, so like it took a little longer on the upswing to get things going. My first car was a '94 Mitsubishi Galant
Nice.
GM Life.
Nice.
And then
Galants are pretty
after
cool.
that,
What they are. Wait, was it 6-cylinder, right?
no,
Or
it's 4.
4-cylinder.
Yeah.
They make
Yeah.
a 6, right?
I think they did. I
think
don't
that
know.
was later, though. I think
don't
the
know.
sixes came later.
Anyway.
And then, my progression of cars kind of went to like European stuff. My first one was an Audi, and then I had a bunch of Volkswagens and blah, blah, blah. And then, what else am I getting to? I have a Jetta now that I love super dearly.
It
And
is.
that's it. That's it.
Really?
That's it.
Are
That's all I have.
you not missing?
Oh, yeah,
Are
the
you-
Nissan. I have
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
Nissan.
Let's just ignore the build.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a Nissan 240SX with a built SR20. It's like 500 horsepower on a bad day.
Not a
So it's
bad
a lot
day.
of fun.
It's fun.
It's a nice change of driving experiences coming from all-wheel
And
drive
expenses.
and front-wheel drive. Turd buckets that Christof seems to love so much.
I haven't owned a front-wheel drive turd bucket in years.
Yeah, it's
Like a year and a half.
If you yeah. Oh please.
No, the Passat was last.
The
front-wheel drive.
R32 is.
Front bias.
Yeah, I can pull that fuse and it's front-wheel driving in a second.
I know.
But yeah, just for
So-
frame of reference, that 240 is a fucking monster.
Monster. Absolute
Monster
monster.
240. Yeah, it's a lot of fun going from front wheel drive and all-wheel drive. Like I was saying, to rear wheel drive, it's just like it just opened my eyes up because I was getting so tired. It's
Yeah.
the same.
Well, the expenses more than anything, I remember, was also an ordeal. I mean, like
Yeah, because you were starting to turbo the R and realizing that you had to take out like a third mortgage just to buy the parts.
Yeah, it was probably I don't know 3 or 4 grand deep in in stuff already, and I wasn't even probably even a third of the way there.
And what did you
So-
have at that point? You had the manifold, turbo.
Just a lot of the bolt-on stuff. Well, I had the internals. I had the pistons and the rods, ARP studs, a turbo manifold, that air-to-water intercooler that was just a giant paperweight, and and
table.
some other odds and ends like the diverter valve and stuff like that. And it's just like after I figured it out, and after everything else, again, the clutch and everything else I needed, and I'm like, dude, I need like another like $6,000. Like,
Still
worth of
need the
crap.
tune.
Yeah, it came out. It's like
Exhaust.
came out to like a lot of money, and I already had a lot of money into it. So I'm like, it's time for it to go. So
Which we talked about that a little bit, saying the differences between even just European to Japanese cars. So let's say for your 240, if you had to buy another exhaust manifold, how much would that cost versus
you could, it's with anything. You can get a Chinese piece of crap for I don't know, $200-$300 like from a Juku or something, but at the same time you can get a nice American made like a full race manifold for I don't know, $1,500.
But what was the R32 one costing you?
I bought it used. I think it was like $400 or $500, I think.
So you just took my theory and shot it to shit. So
I think we can all agree that generally speaking, maybe not with everything. If you're going into higher end stuff,
Well, you said that when you were looking at the Evo too.
that's the thing. So
You can't buy an exhaust for any European car for like less than like $1,500.
Well, you can, but
It depends
But
on
you're not
the-
going to get a full exhaust.
No.
for less than
No, you're gonna get a
$1,500.
MagnaFlow or some piece of junk.
I briefly discussed that last week with the whole Evo thing, and I was looking for something different. I kind of wanted to go the JDM route for once, and the only thing that really stopped me was insurance, because I've driven the cars. I like the cars. The one that I test drove the one time, just to kind of remind myself what they were like, I think I told you about that. It was a lease trade-in, and the car ended up being, we had the what's it called, the salesman in the car, and Gabriella was in the car with me, and we get on the car.
That's right.
And I told her she hates speed, she hates acceleration, she literally hates the whole ordeal. So I told her, I'm like, listen, this car is noticeably quicker than the R32, so just sit back in the seat. I'm just gonna do some pulls on just to make sure everything's okay. And when your girlfriend, who despises cars and speed, says that's it, when you get on the car, there's something wrong with the fucking car.
I was like, no, this is wrong.
So it was blown. So the other thing with picking up a used car is, especially a car like that, you have to make sure that you're not buying yourself a heap of shit that somebody was just beating the crap out of the whole time. But but getting back to the topic of costs, I type in Evo exhaust on YouTube, Google, and I have dozens and dozens of videos, choices, prices, everything. Cadbacks ranging from $200 to $300.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's like now,
Like for the R32 example,
Yeah.
you want a catback, you're spending $700,
new,
$700,
$700-$800
for new,
new,
yeah. And
that's the thing.
Really,
full-
that cheap? I thought they were more expensive than
for
that.
you could pick up a Cadback
For
around the
how
same
much? Like,
price.
I'm not
Depends.
talking like a titanium full.
No, like Borla.
Dual
Borla,
or like
the Borla was a good one.
maybe. I've been out of the game for a little bit, so
even
I don't
Miltech.
remember.
The Miltech one was probably maybe $500-$600.
I think
Borla,
it's more than that now.
is it?
Now
Well, it depends
is.
if you're getting the resonator or the
I
non-resonator
think it's
too.
like
so.
7 or 9.
I think
at this
the
point.
price might have went down too because you have like all the influx, all the like the new stuff coming out now.
Yeah.
So people were like, we could
Yeah.
probably like dumb down the price a little bit because people aren't,
Yeah. But I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's the JDM game has more options in general.
Yeah.
It does. It has more options, and that's especially at least in the States. I mean, I can't speak for Europe or anywhere else, but at least in the States, there's way more options that are easily available.
Well,
So that makes
are
it,
there more models that are compatible with each other too? Because like obviously you have the Nissan motor. Okay, so you have
What do you mean?
You have the SR20
compatible?
motor.
He means like multiple parts.
So yeah,
from
like
different cars.
certain
it's
exhausts
like-
that can go on to different applications.
I guess.
Whereas Volkswagen's pretty specific,
Um,
or German, I should say.
I don't know about Nissan specifically. I know Honda's like that. You can put like this head on this block and this
Yeah.
transmission on this engine and
like
blah,
Legos.
like it is like Legos.
Yeah.
Like
pretty
to build
fucking
your own
awesome,
like little
honestly,
like
yeah.
I mean, who
Frankenstein,
doesn't like
sort of thing.
Legos? I know TG's listening. TG
TG.
loves Legos.
Hey, I've actually had the privilege of driving that monster.
You both
240.
have.
I both.
Yeah, and so
I both have.
This is my first time speaking.
having owned several sports bikes, when you get into a car that gives you the same kind of feel of acceleration and fright, when you're going sideways in third gear, there's a fucking problem.
First
It was
of all,
brilliant.
I don't
Honestly,
know
it
if
was-
you've experienced true fright yet. I know Kevin has.
Oh, with you behind the wheel?
That wasn't even. We still haven't drove it on full tilt yet.
I know.
So it's
Wait, Am I allowed to?
I said you were banned from the car until
Well,
I
he
feel
actually,
safe again.
I can confirm that because
Also, I have brakes on now, so I can stop.
That's true.
Going back to Kevin's occupation, which he actually didn't mention yet, I was at his occupation recently, and he reclarified that you are. There's a restraining order for you. From
You
that
are
car.
not
For the
allowed.
listeners who don't know, I'm actually a very good driver. However,
subjective.
when you hand me
His right foot is a little heavy,
When you-
especially when you give him something that's more than 500 horsepower.
when you give me power, I'm gonna use it. So I may have gotten carried away. We were listening. No, we didn't have Paul Walker playing at the time.
I don't think I had the
No,
stereo
you didn't
in
have
at
stereo
that
in it.
point.
Till I see.
So the
you
car makes
again.
supposedly what I got from Epic. It's supposed to make 660 on race fuel, and
It was a spark plug issue, right?
Yeah, so we put gas in it, and we swapped the tune over, and when you put the boost controller on it, it's in percentage.
Right.
It's not like how many psi you
Yeah.
want. So it's like a duty cycle. So I went from, I forget what my pump gas setting is, like 52%, and then my race fuel is like 92. And then me and Christof are driving around, and I can feel it. It's like it roasted tires in third gear, but like it was breaking up. And then we figured out it had the wrong spark plugs in it. So I just continually kept turning it down until it wasn't breaking up as bad. So we have yet to drive it on full blast.
You've swapped the plugs already, though.
No.
Oh, you still have it?
No, you need another set. You need a step colder
Yeah.
set of plugs for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
race gas.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
so we have yet to do that.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
Well,
so
hey, fuck it. Summer's coming, right? Whatever.
yeah,
I
it's
haven't
on the
died
list.
yet.
I mean,
So-
I know he doesn't want to break the bank on those $12 spark plugs, but jeez.
They're not cheap.
No.
actually.
Really?
Yeah, no. For a set of them's like $50 or $60 for 4 of
Yeah.
them.
God, what?
Yeah, that's like the most expensive thing on the car.
Boom, and there it
Back
is.
to cost. So Kevin is a mechanic
Yes,
by trade.
Yeah, I am. I is mechanic.
He can mechanic and you
I
can too.
has mechanics. I worked for Volkswagen for a couple of years. That's how I met Christof.
Yep.
And
And then
and now I work at a small shop. We work on a lot of junk box Volkswagens and stuff like that.
yeah, it should be said like the previous owner of the shop has notoriously been like an air-cooled Porsche VW. That was how it really got its start.
Back in the, I think it was the 60s or early 70s.
And they
It was
actually-
strictly, I think it was
they had
it
a
was Porsche, and they sponsored
a racing team.
I think it was Daytona.
Really? This is interesting. I actually don't
yeah.
know the history of this shop.
So when you
Is
walk
Dave
in,
the
where
fourth owner now, or
I don't know. So when you walk in, where that little the little desk is, when you walk in,
Yeah, yeah.
there's two pictures of two of the Porsches that they sponsored. I think it was like they would do like tires and stuff like that. They were
That's
nothing
still,
big.
I mean, that's
but,
pretty cool.
But
still,
like
yeah.
there's some heritage
Yeah,
there.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Dave, the current owner, used to work there as a mechanic. He now owns the shop.
Yeah.
He has some great knowledge on Porsche. So when I was out of work for a little bit, Kevin managed to get me a position there as well, so which was nice to buy me time until I could get a job that would actually pay me what I'm worth, and
He
which
was
I
the
would later
bitch.
then lose and and start.
And
my
here
own-
we are. We're
start my
talking for
home
you.
business, but. I actually learned quite a bit on Porsche while I was there because I knew the
Oh, you
basics.
must have. Absolutely.
I knew the
you
basics.
drove
but
your
yeah.
first one.
That's
too.
right.
Oh no, you drove in one before.
No,
I think that was your first 911. You drove at the
No,
shop.
I don't think I ever drove a Porsche before going there.
No, I thought you drove
At
the
all?
Cayman or something with.
Oh, no, I
like, one of your
rode in a
friends.
Cayman.
Ah.
Yeah,
Okay.
a friend of mine, Matt Hawthorne, up in near Easton. His dad has a 14 Cayman S, I think at the time, which in blue, sharp car, man. That was a nice little ride. I'd ridden in that.
It
But
ain't
yeah,
no
so
XC90.
it ain't no Toyota Echo.
We'll get back to that.
So yeah, I drove my first Porsche there at the shop, and yeah, I learned quite a bit as far as from ordering parts because I was the service writer / parts consultant / clean the shop /
AKA
I
Do
did-
whatever you're told.
I did lend a hand to Kevin on several jobs. I did put children's toys together too for Christmas for Dave.
We did a few things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anybody that goes there can definitely attest to the quality work. I
Yes.
mean, I've,
Yeah.
And actually,
No.
speaking of which, we have late Apex that just joined us.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Living that crazy 944 turbo life.
Non-fofo.
Hey.
Wait,
I see Steve once a year, and it's for me to slap stickers on his car and tell him that his wheel bearings are loose in the front, and that's it.
I hope he's
He
still
gets
watching.
so peed off when it comes to, like, he'll have like the smallest strip. He's super anal about his car.
Yes,
The car
yeah.
is stellar underneath the hood.
I mean,
But he
it
has
should
like
be.
the just yeah.
It's a nice car.
It's
It's
re-
really-
very
I'm yet
very
to see
clean.
it. I'm excited. I'm sure
Although,
I'll see it at some point.
I don't think I've ever seen it. When was the last time I saw it in the wild? I don't think I ever did. I think I've seen it out and about one time. Other than that, I've only seen pictures of it.
But if he has one like little coolant leak and like one little drop, anything, he's like, God damn it, take it apart again.
Oh, the whole thing's coming up. Fuck this shit.
It's the third time I did this.
I
But, yeah,
feel your
Steve's car's
pain.
really
I
nice.
feel your pain.
But I mean, honestly,
get it.
that's the way you should be with your car to
No,
an
I mean-
extent. I mean,
Well, especially in any kind of higher power vehicle, if you're going to start messing with it, anything, you got to be very very meticulous. You can't just slap on parts and hope for the best.
Steve, what kind of power are you putting down in that car? Do you know?
Ooh,
Let's see if he replies here.
My butt dyno tells me 3.
250. No,
No.
inside joke.
It makes low 3s, I think, on the
That's-
butt dyno.
That's
We're
not
talking
bad.
about
for
we're talking about the
It's
the
a 944 turbo
Yeah,
yeah.
low
With-
3s. I'd
with a
say.
lot of extra little things. He's not answering.
No response.
No response.
Next.
He's probably fixing it right now. He said tree fitty. He just said tree fitty.
I mean, ooh, Kevin is doubting. Kevin is doubting
Ooh, well-
very heavily.
I don't know. I'm so spoiled, so I
His
don't
butt
know
may be
what's
off, 'cause
fast.
he said
Yeah, I
anymore.
actually, I haven't known Kevin that long. I've known him for probably about a year and a half, maybe a little bit more. And I saw the progression of being kind of like almost slightly humble to just being like, fuck everybody. I have a mass. We showed up to Cars and Coffee the
I
one
don't
time.
say that directly, but I come off
It's
like
there.
a little
It's
dickish.
the power got to his head a little bit. We showed up to.
what's under the hood?
Yeah, no, let me tell you. So we show up to Cars and Coffee, which for anybody that doesn't know is a local meet in a lot of areas. I know there's some in Connecticut. I
they're
know
all over there. They're all over
I know I missed one in Annapolis when I was away on a weekend, and I kind of wish I saw it, but whatever. Besides the point, we show up to our local Cars and Coffee. Kevin and I get talking. We're like, all right, let's pull up. So I take my at the time R32, and Kevin takes his 240. So we show up to Cars and Coffee. We get there pretty early enough to get some decent parking.
This is one of the ones I was being a little bitch and didn't go, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was that one.
you're a little bitch. In general, but so we pull up, we park up the cars, and I park next to Kevin. Whatever. I turn my car off, and somebody came up and parked in their Mark III, and they just I think it was a 2-liter or something, and you just start. So I'm kind of like whatever, and Kevin just gets out of. And normally I would think I'm ignoring it.
Well, it
Kevin's
should
like,
be prefaced that Kevin is not really a showboat. He's not. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
I
He's-
don't
fact,
like that.
he's not.
I do not like
and
that.
so
anyway.
and so.
And we're being dead serious.
Kevin
about
gets out of the car, and this guy's revving. Kevin's like, "Oh Jesus, for fuck's sake, would you stop revving that thing?" So I burst out laughing. The kid looks at him like, "Okay." And so somebody, as we're walking away from the car, somebody asks, "Oh, so what's that thing got done to it?" And Kevin, in the most upset manner that somebody asked what his super clean 240 turbo looks like under the hood, goes, "Oh, fuck, fine. You want me to pop the hood open for you? God, fine.
Pop
I'll
the
do it."
hood.
Pops the hood and just walks away in the most upset manner. I was dying. It was the best event ever.
How dare you ask me that?
Literally, one of the cleanest 240s on the road in the area. Oh God, how dare people ask me what's under the hood of this car?
I get super upset about it. I don't know why.
Which apparently we're gonna have to have Chad on the show. Apparently that car was originally designed to be a secretary. It was aimed for a secretary's car. That was the demographic they were
I
going
think
for.
Alex told me something about this. That the 240 was supposed to be. I don't know
Yeah.
what the secretary means.
For anybody that's
And
not
for anybody that is a
isn't
secretary,
watching,
you
well-
need a 240.
well, that and for anybody that isn't actually watching the Instagram live feed, as we speak, Christof is attempting to inconspicuously pour another beer into his mug.
Wait, you said you had 4, and you just like so happened to.
You fucking
That's gonna be a
took it.
community beer. You didn't realize
Yeah.
this.
Facts.
Is it afternoon yet?
It is. It is.
12 minutes after.
All right. We are not alcoholics.
So let's get on to the cream of the crop here, why we're here today. And we're not going to spend too much time on it, because honestly, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
But this is the transmission episode. That's really why we wanted, because Kevin is a mechanic, that's kind of the main reason why we wanted him here. The secondary reason was
His
just because-
expertise is absolutely unmatched.
Just because he's a fucking fantastic guy.
I love transmissions too.
He loves it.
In and out.
It's his favorite thing ever.
I do.
But so transmissions, there's a couple different types out there. I mean, and there's controversy as to what is the better transmission. Obviously, everyone always like, oh man, if it doesn't have a
best?
if it doesn't have a man pedal, it's crap. We'll just go down the list here. We'll start with we don't have any notes, so we're really just
We're winging it.
Where we are winging it, but we have enough knowledge on this to really kind of go off this. So obviously, the very first and foremost is manual, which is you have 3 pedals. You have a clutch pedal, brake pedal, gas pedal, and you have to manually change the gears yourself. There is usually, there is a clutch and a flywheel.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
And that is actually a dying breed at this point. The manual transmission is going away. And then, I mean, you can go into so many different variations from there. You have dual mass flywheels, single mass flywheels, so many other things for as far, and that goes into whether you want something that's more performance based, more comfort based. Most stock cars now, it's a dual mass flywheel usually, or no?
Yeah, it's to take up the slop. It's more
there's cushion.
A cushion, a comfort level. I don't know if you you drive my car. It's got a single mass. It's like terrible.
Yeah.
The more mass that you have rotating, the easier it is to get on and off the clutch, so to speak. So you're not.
Yeah,
it won't bog.
I think it was at least once or twice I installed in that car.
It won't.
I've never driven anything that high powered.
It won't bog.
Right. But the purpose of that is not for daily driving comfort. It is for instant power
and
transfer.
I mean,
for performance.
So you're rotating less. If we're talking about a single mass flywheel, there's less mass that needs to be rotated. So therefore, the engine turns easier.
Right. So, and the way that typically works is you have a clutch disc, which is a friction plate that then engages and disengages to the flywheel, which transfers the power from the rotating engine to the actual axles through gears and stuff like that. So I actually had a whole conversation with Crystal once on how transmissions works, and when I had to break it down, it was hard to actually break it because in my mind, I know how a transmission works.
You see it in your head.
But to explain it to someone who has no idea,
I think that helps people that don't know how to drive stick to because they really don't understand it.
Yeah.
The analogy that I always use is a mountain bike, and I mean I know it's very simplified, but for people that don't understand manual transmissions, I'm telling them well, when you start going uphill, what do? You go down in your speeds.
Yep.
Why? So that you can rotate your legs a little quicker, but it eases the load, so it makes it easier for you. So, I mean, I feel like that's probably the one that hits home with the most people. Well, for me, at least the people that I talk to that don't drive manuals.
So really, that's a manual transmission. We'll move on then to the next most common, which would be an automatic, a true automatic.
Slush box.
Yes, some people, slush box, yep. Which... Kevin, we want to explain what that is. No, so you still have a flywheel. You still have a flywheel.
You have what's called you can call it a flex plate. There's some more. It's a very thin flywheel, and then instead of a clutch and a
torque converter.
Yes, you have a torque converter that's on there that has some things and stuff inside of it.
And automatic transmissions are the brain of it. At least newer ones are like a valve body.
Valve body. Yeah, it's all these days. You can talk about older stuff, but these days everything's obviously it's transmission. It's all hydraulically controlled.
Pressure.
So, yeah, it's all pressure based. So you have solenoids, so valves opening and closing to distribute pressure to a area, which will give you your gear.
And it has its own brain, so the brains communicate with other, the main engine.
Yes, there's computers involved too, so everything it gets a little more difficult. It's not as simple as pressing down the third pedal and shifting anymore.
Right.
There's a lot more going on. There's inputs and outputs and all that fun stuff that's going along.
So now the next one is going to be a hybrid of the two, of a manual and an automatic, which would be a dual clutch setup. Now in the Volkswagen world, it's called
single clutch.
Or single clutch. Okay.
And we actually now that the three of us actually have both. Well, you have had experience with it, but now Christof and I have experience with
the SMG.
With the SMG, the
which
BMW SMG.
To me, it was not a good one. I will say.
And
but
we don't.
Is that actually how it's supposed to shift?
And we don't know. That is the thing. So for anybody,
never driven a pristine example.
Exactly. So anybody that's out of the loop, basically the story is Dom P90 and myself entered a contest for an M3 for a 2003 E46 SM3 SMG. So we ended up winning the car. We decided that if either one of our tickets won, we would pick it up, do whatever needed to be done, and sell it, and just split the profits. So Dom's ticket won. We got the car. We drove it back, and having both driven DSGs, the dual clutches that are available in Volkswagens, or not multiple cars, but
many cars.
Yeah. You have a certain expectation, and the dual clutches for what these DSGs, all shit aside, I mean they're great transmissions. They're awesome. They're really cool. Yeah, because you miss the man pedal, quote unquote, but it is a good time. And then we get in the SMG, and it just feels like it almost feels like it wants to behave like a proper manual, but it sometimes doesn't know what to do.
And I think what it comes down to is a dual clutch setup has 2 output shafts or 2 input shafts.
It's
DSG has 2.
It has 1 input shaft.
So it's 2 output shafts. It does.
No,
Yes, it does.
1 in.
It has 2. Yes.
So there's definitely 1 input shaft. I don't know about.
There are 2 output because.
outputs.
So actually, Humble Mechanic, Charles, who does follow us, Humble Mechanic and Engineering Explained actually did a really good video. It's up on YouTube. We'll post it to the page. Explaining. They actually have a DSG disassembled, and they actually show you what actually happens. But
How it works and
it's pretty
everything,
cool. What happens is I'm pretty sure. I'll fact check this later. I'm pretty sure there are 2 output shafts, and the reason why is because it's pre-selecting the next gear.
Because I do know that in DSGs the next gear is already ready.
Right, based on your
Once,
input.
you're
So
in-
it's proactive based on your habits. So if you're
I don't know
driving
if it's
the
the
car
next
hard-
gear up and down already, or if it's the next one
It can do-
up. I don't. I've like so I've taken
it's just the
all
next
the
one. It won't
Volkswagen
pre-select 2. It only
training.
Yeah.
pre-selects
Downshifts
1.
are a little sloppy on DSG.
It
Prior
depends.
prior to the tune, and I can attest to that. Prior
The
to
tune
the
does
tune,
like it'll rev
it made a
match,
huge difference.
but it's
Huge.
all based on driver input. So if you're
Yeah.
driving the car like daily driver, then it's going to pre-select whatever the next gear is for efficiency. If you're driving sporty, it's going to pre-select the next gear for
Performance.
Performance.
Yeah.
So whether that may be a
And
downshift or an upshift.
yeah, so
Whereas an SMG, which is a
yeah,
single,
and not knocking on BMW because as far as
Right.
I remember,
It was
they,
very
they're
early.
they were kind of the pioneers of that automated manual in the
well,
states. From what I
Volkswagen didn't have it. Well, again, not in the States.
Volkswagen didn't have it in the states.
They
That's
had it in
so
04,
I should
yeah.
specify in the states. The E46 M3 came out with the SMG, and that was 01 through 06, if I remember the years correctly. So if you're thinking about it, I mean, they were really kind of the first ones to mess around with moving into the automated manual
Actually, I
world.
think GM might have been one of the first ones
Was
to,
it
do
really?
to do a dual clutch. I think if I remember correctly, because I had this conversation with Steve at one point.
See,
I think
I
I
wouldn't-
remember
I-
him
yeah.
saying
He
that
might-
GM was.
Put it
maybe.
this way, the first car that
He's a
I
GM
thought,
guy, so that's why.
Possibly.
Possibly.
the
Possibly.
first car that I knew of that had it was the
GM also
E46.
has a 7-speed. It was a 4+3. So it wasn't a true 7-speed. It was a 4+3.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, GM actually had that first before
Triple
Porsche.
overdrive.
Porsche was the first one to do a true straight 7-speed in a consumer car. So anyway,
Yeah.
go on.
So I mean, just to kind of go
Dropping
over,
knowledge bombs here.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, I think if any of the three of us had to pick between the SMG or the DSG, I think we would all three say that the DSG is definitely the better transmission.
Oh, 100%.
But
So what I was gonna say is, so I worked on the BMW this past week or was it last week too?
it was
this
like-
week,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And,
the thing is, it's also how you drive it. And I saw
I didn't.
people,
I took it from like my place to your place, which is like 5 blocks. So I but I did notice the power cut in
Yeah,
between.
absolutely, yeah.
And so actually, I drove a smart car, and the smart car is the same way. So a friend of mine recently bought one, and he throws a key on the table, and I'm like, no, you didn't. I'm like I have to drive it.
You
'cause
know I have a
The only time
240.
I sat in one once at the New York Auto Show, and I sat in it, and immediately I'm like, I don't feel safe in this. Just sitting in it.
But is it? I've never been in one. Is it comfortable to get in?
It's not bad.
Not bad.
No, it's not bad.
Because we're all tall.
Yeah,
I mean, so it's,
that's like well, you can do this. So you can take like your left hand and your right hand and go like this. But you have like 4 feet worth of space that you.
So
can
there's
work
no
with.
domestic abuse, is what you're saying
Exactly.
can happen in a smart car.
Exactly.
So if you have an
cannot
abusive spouse, buy a smart car.
Yeah, there's not enough room to swing in it. So he throws me the key to the smart car, and I'm like, dude, I have to drive it. So we take it around the block, and same thing. So you get on it, and then when it's ready to shift, it just totally cuts power. It shifts, and then it progressively brings
And
the
that's-
gear back in.
yeah.
And I thought it was the most goofy thing.
So was your
ever.
foot into it?
Your foot? So you'll give it throttle, right? So for example, it shifts at 3,000 RPM. So it'll go to the 3. It'll cut power progressively, and it'll go and then it'll bring it back in the same way. It's
I'm
smooth.
Googling this right now.
And so yeah, I mean, and we were discussing it because so we actually ended up selling the BMW to a very close friend of ours, myself and Dom, our friend Must. The thing is, it's Dom and I were very worried that we got a bad example, but after doing more research and people complaining about the SMG doesn't feel like it's shifting the way it's supposed to, this and this, I kind of started to read a lot of forum stuff and entries, and started to follow the advice of the people that knew the transmissionals a little bit better and how to actually drive it. And you almost have to drive it and pretend as if you're driving a manual. And when you get off, generally speaking, everybody knows. So you're on the gas pedal in a manual car. You go to shift gears, you let go of the gas, you depress the clutch, you change your gear, and you get back into it. And the thing with the SMG is you almost pretend that there's a clutch pedal there. You get off of it, it does its shift, and you continue. And that made it made the car drive completely differently. And I think a lot of people didn't realize, or at least we definitely didn't realize that at first. We're like, oh my god, because we had the comparison of the DSG, which is completely different.
So I'm looking here. It says that the Smart 4.2, which I guess
I'm talking OG Smart.
Well, this is saying that the 4.2.
It may be something different now.
It is a dual
Who knows?
clutch.
Oh, they had a 4.2 liter in that car.
No, 4.2 isn't.
Yeah, it had the 4.2. It had the 4.2 option.
It was a joint thing with Audi.
Facts.
You have to remove the motor to do anything. But it's saying
The motor weighs more than the car does.
it's saying here it was a dual. The 4.2 is a DSG. It's a dual clutch, so not DSG.
I'm talking. What I was talking about is the
original
Smart 2. Is that what it is? 4.2.
Well, that's
Is that
saying
what they call it?
4.2. But see that
the smart car that you can get for like $4,000 now.
Do you know it's cheaper than a smart car, but way better savings?
Toyota Echo.
And I mean, let's take a sidebar here and let's talk about it. The Toyota Echo, I mean, classic styling, timeless, timeless,
It's
classic.
aged extremely well.
Yeah.
Do you know? So I was looking into buying one, and
there was one for sale recently.
I always have a sharp eye out for a smart car. I mean, not a smart car, a Toyota Echo. What am I thinking?
How dare you?
I was thinking, I'm like, they cut it off. From whatever they started making them, like 2000, I think, to I don't know, like mid 2000s. I think
It's
they
because
cut
they
them
were
off.
too good.
They didn't. They didn't cut them off. They basically it
Different
turned into the Yaris.
Yeah.
Ah, well,
that's what it did.
Yeah, but the Yaris looks like crap.
They made a bunch of Yarises actually.
Yeah, I know, but the Yaris.
But it's the
Yaris is
same thing. It's that
Emmanuel.
same like little like turtley looking.
Turtley.
Yeah. Turtley
No.
looking car that looks like a toy.
You're not going to tarnish the Toyota Echo in my eyes. It is you have the reliability of Toyota, you have the classic styling, and you have revolutionary technology.
And 40 miles per gallon.
And 2-door or 4-door. Who doesn't like a coupe?
They had a 2-door option? I didn't
What?
fucking know that.
That's the one I want.
That is
Oh my
you
God.
need this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You need to Google.
I can fit literally like a half a dozen Toyota Echoes in my apartment.
And still have room.
And still have room to get out the front door.
I remember putting up that stanced one in the fucking shop.
It's
Was
not
it-
there
you
anymore.
gued had a stanced Echo?
No,
Yeah.
Look at you.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
But okay, so going back to transmissions here, we appear to be going down a rabbit hole. So okay, we went over manual, automatic. Then we have
DSG SMG. We went over that.
and really, I know a lot of people would call DSG automatics because it doesn't have a man pedal, but it is an automated manual.
So Christof has a very, very big insecurity and
Oh, here we
complex about the
Oh,
DSG
really?
transmissions.
I want to hear about it.
For anybody that hasn't noticed. So this is why he's on. Now, I will say that
You're not my real dad.
he just always pushes the DSG transmission. It is a great transmission. I will not lie.
For yeah, it is.
Spit it out. What are you going to say?
It's actually an automated manual, so I'm just
But
trying
no,
to correct
I'm
everybody
trying to
that
make
says
it
otherwise.
I'm trying to make it clear for those who aren't into cars or don't know a lot about transmissions.
It doesn't
No,
have a
for
torque,
those that
it
say
does
that-
not have a torque converter,
It
so you
actually
can't
has-
really label it as
Right.
a true automatic.
It does not have a dry clutch. It has a wet clutch pack.
So I haven't disassembled. You were talking about like Humble Mechanic and like whatever. Like they
Yeah.
did a whole breakdown of it. I think I did one. So there's a big seal on the DSG. I did do that. So I didn't get to like really take a peek at like the whole gear setup and whatever. But yeah, for the most part, it is a manual. But it's that.
Well, it's pretty cool. And again, we'll post this video, but I guess the one shaft, which is the output shaft, it spins two ways independently. So it has all the gears on one shaft, and you can spin 1 while the other one stays. Like you can spin 5 while 4 stays still, because it's a dual shaft. And it's all about which one's being engaged at that time, which is pretty cool.
I love it that you're telling me how shit works. And
I told you I'm pretty much a master mechanic.
you are.
If you, for anybody out there in the world that's listening, if you've ever installed bag suspension on a Volkswagen,
You're
are
a master mechanic.
Yeah. All right, we're done with
Okay,
this
so next,
DSG
so
crap.
so yeah, that's an automated manuals. Whether it's the
You forgot single. You forgot single. I think it's pretty much the same thing. It's just
I don't know a lot about the single.
I know Lamborghini uses them. I don't know if Ferrari does. I know because they were talking about the quality of shifts in like Huracan and Aventador and whatever they are now. Like so when they're in like the full race mode or whatever, it like bangs. It's like when you just like it's like boom. Boom! Like there's no that smoothness that you get with a DSG. It's like it's really really harsh. I don't know specifics of why it is like that, but I know there's it does share some.
Way to do your homework before coming to the transmission episode.
I
It's
is
a bullshit
mechanic
mechanics that is. Like,
Seriously.
because I work.
Don't
I
go to
work on a
Canada.
lot of Lamborghinis, so I should know this.
There's.
It's literally like the same. 10
I mean, a
cars.
Carmen Ghia is pretty much a Lamborghini at this point. And
You're
the same
100%
thing.
correct.
Rear wheel drive.
So,
and the last
stop
one,
straying off topic.
Okay, the last
CVT.
would be the last one. I have a serious grudge against CVTs.
Well, you just don't like Subaru, so
No, honestly,
They have them in
lots of cars. It's not just Subaru.
I did.
No, I know, but
I
I'm just
rebuilt
stating.
one. I rebuilt a pump and a A4.
For the
Do you remember
the front wheel
remember
drive?
that?
Yep. Yeah.
I think yeah. So it's only
front wheel drive. Not
it was
front wheel drive.
a 03
02,
A4
yeah. Convertible.
Yeah, I think also, only the front wheel drive ones had CVT in them.
And currently, I think Audi still only because Audi does have a front wheel drive option on almost all their like the A4 and A3, and I think they still offer a CVT in the front wheel drive models only. Same with Volkswagen. I think Volkswagen doesn't offer a CVT. Never mind, it's only Audi.
I can't think of anyone that
Because their front wheel drives are just standard automatic.
I think they're straight up slush boxes for the most part.
Yeah. So the CVT essentially does not have gears. It's a tapered shaft essentially.
There's 2 tapered shafts, and then there's a
It's more like a bike than anything else.
steel what's the word I'm looking
Belted
for?
chain.
Yeah, belted chain.
It's not just a rubber chain;
So
it's steel belted.
depending on speed and RPM and whatever, it fluctuates where it needs to be. So that way, ideally, you're supposed to have peak power all the time, and you need it. I was actually having this argument with my friend Mike about saying why they don't use CVT in like drag racing and like Formula One and stuff like that. So supposedly it was banned like years ago.
Well, the other
because
thing
they said it was like too fast or something like that, which that doesn't make sense to me because like F1 and stuff like that, they're always like it's always the next year is like we're not doing V8s anymore, we're going back to the turbo V6s and this sort of thing. I'm like, why are they not doing with the transmissions? They claimed it. You can look it up. It's claimed that it's being too fast and stuff like this, which really didn't make sense to me.
I'm not
there
going
might be some words.
So he was talking about. He's like, CVTs are the fastest thing ever,
Well,
and like, I'm at the same point, I was trying to argue that fact where I'm like, why doesn't like Ferrari use them?
I was going to say
they don't use it. They use all the
because
single clutch or dual clutch.
the other thing with CVTs is that usually they're not great for longevity. That's the big thing with them. The belts.
I
It's the
forget.
belts.
So I don't know how many miles that one the A4 that I did
Yeah.
that the pump went to crap.
Well, that was even just the pump. The belt itself, they're not very good for longevity.
Yeah,
And-
I don't think they've been around for too long for us to really see big issues. I work on German cars, so like they're not. I don't see a lot of them.
And Swedish cars.
And Swedish cars.
Fuck your Volvo.
Yes. I
Fuck
do
you
work-
guys both.
I work on.
Get your
You know
car
what?
by
You know what?
garage.
You can talk all the shit that you want. The first time I brought that car there, you're like, holy fuck, this thing rides nice.
I had some
This is
initial
fucking
hate.
nice.
There was
My
some
opinion's
initial
never
hate
changed.
when it came in, but I took it for a little spin around the block. I'm like, dude, it's not that bad.
I feel like all shit aside, I have a clean example. Now, it's not running the way it's supposed to be, but I have a nice example of a mid-90s Volvo, which was the best era of Volvo. Well, that and actually anything late 90s and prior.
No, and prior. Okay.
Because the new ones...
Mid 80s, 240s were.
No, they were fantastic.
Bricks
I
off.
like the newer cars to a certain extent, but there's just something about the old school,
XC90.
the fucking boxes that just
XC90.
that's what they are. The Volvo, it's a box. It's
a
just
tank.
this is a Volvo.
I put a
It's like, that's
transmission.
it
What
is.
was that one? Was it
XC90.
I put a trans in an XC90.
Oh, I'm sure you had a fantastic time.
That sucked.
a pile of trash.
That sucked.
No,
It's
the
like
new
a
one.
it's
The newer
a
one's on
it's
the other hand.
it's a Chevy Impala transmission, but with a all-wheel drive bevel box on it.
By the way, one quick thing about the CVT real quick before we go off of the transmission side of here. So originally, if you drive an early CVT, and I'm not even saying that early, probably like mid 2000s, late 2000s, there was no shift points. There was no that you would drive them and you like oh, it was weird. Now they're actually programmed to have what feels like a shift point to the consumer.
Yeah, they program like a hiccup in
Yeah.
it because people
want to feel a shift. Yeah,
they don't like it.
Yeah,
and
which I don't. The first time I drove a CVT, I'm like, I don't like this.
My dad has a CVT in his Altima.
Yep.
He bought a newer Altima, and it's it's pretty terrible. I have to drive it. It does have a sport mode, which really opens things up, but, but it's pretty bad. But yep, I was saying the hiccup because people they don't like how it feels. It just it feels very bland, and there's like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Meh.
Yeah, very meh.
Which I will say, I may just being I might just being an asshole for
biased
not
douchebag for
liking
Volkswagen?
CVT, but if it
Here comes the hate.
no, I'm all for if something is better. Show me a reason why it's better. Show me proven reasons why it's better. Show me longevity, and I will gladly switch over to it. And CVT, to me personally, I have not seen. I mean, the I understand the concept behind the CVT. I understand that you're looking. It's always putting you in peak power, which is fantastic. I don't know until I see a CVT on a 500 horsepower car. Or more.
Which they have yet to do. That's why I'm skeptical about it still. I'm like, why aren't? But going back to the argument I was having with my friend, car guys don't want to have a CVT.
No.
So that's
because
bottom
car
line.
guys want to shift. That's the thing. They want to feel a shift, whether it's an automated manual or whether it's an automatic.
So who knows whether it's from a consumer standpoint or it's from the manufacturer. Like,
where they could be over glorifying the transmission.
And
this
goes back.
I think it is too. I think it really just belongs on like a
I think this goes
or like an Alto on my dad's car, just like something you get in and go, get good gas mileage, and that's it. You want nothing else out of the car, just comfort.
Yeah, this all goes back. Everything we've talked about so far on every episode, it all comes back to what you want something to do. What is your outcome? You know, if you want a very comfortable car that you don't feel the shifts, that you don't know, just pure comfort.
If you want to drive a Marshmallow, we will make you a Marshmallow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to drive something that you feel 100% connected with at any given point, then you need a big turbo 240.
Holla at your boy.
All right. Well, we've reached the 53-minute mark, boys.
Wow, it just goes down so smooth,
I know,
doesn't
right?
it?
Like
does.
a knife.
It's the adult fizzy beverages.
It is. Well, we're having a good time.
We are.
The good people makes the good time. So yeah, I think we've reached that time of the week when we can do our newest segment that we introduced last week. What did you do this week? So yeah, we're this is when we're going to go to Instagram. We have had. Actually, I can't tell if Louis is actually still watching. I know Louis has been commenting, which I'm going to credit most of our Illinois listening to Louis. Actually, congrats to Illinois for being our third largest downloaded region in the States.
Quite a few people. It was in the 20s, I think, right?
Yeah, it was high. PA and New York keep going back and forth as to who's the highest. So, but Illinois, number 3. He's still watching. I'm getting some hearts from him. That's good. We do have Dom P90,
the one and only Dom P90,
FYB. So he is now here. But we're going to go to what did we do to our cars this week? Kevin, did you do anything automotive related this week to your vehicle? Any of your vehicle? I know your 240 is hibernating.
No, the Nissan is in hibernation till springtime. Not this week. Last week I put a oxygen sensor in the.
You finally did it?
No.
Oh.
It hasn't. No, I just got a check engine light randomly. I was driving it. I'm like, you motherfucker.
A check engine light on a Volkswagen?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking
Wait,
about?
you don't have that car tuned yet?
What? Dude, when that thing needs a timing belt, it's definitely getting a cam. I can tell you that right now. And you laugh, but you just wait for it.
We never touched on this. So Kevin currently drives. What year is it?
04.
04 Jetta.
You can tell by the chrome trim, fam. What
No,
do you
it's
mean?
the taillights is the true way to tell.
It's
the
whatever.
candy
It's got
cane
the trim.
taillights.
It's got the dope ass trim.
Anyway, doesn't matter. But it's a 2-liter
2-liter,
manual.
5-speed
It was
transmission, which is good.
It was owned by the
It was
nicest mustached man I've ever met in my life,
This dude's mustache could float
Don.
a boat.
Oh my god! And honestly, I want to go back to what we talked about last week about being a consumer. Don is awesome. Don is probably one of the
Don's
best.
a cool guy. I do like a lot of the customers that come into my work. They're not shitty people.
Yeah, Don is one of those not shitty people. Don is very, very good. If something needs to be done, you explain to him why it needs to be done.
Yeah.
do
He'll bitch
it.
and moan about it. But
but he'll do it.
But he's like, all right.
He is a cigar smoking son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And but anyway, this used to be his car. He ended up getting a new
So-
Golf, and you drive the Jetta.
Yeah.
It is a 2-liter
Had a
manual.
boatload of miles on it. I guess he bought it from Bernhardt's. He said it only had like 50 or 60,000 miles on it when he
wow.
bought it. And
What's it have now?
227.
Can't beat that. It's like a limp dick.
Yeah. That car's been rock solid, man. I can't complain about that. Every now and then it's got a little bit of a coolant leak now somewhere. I think the rad's leaking finally, but yeah, the check engine light came on.
But it's a 13-year-old
last week.
car with
Dude, it's been awesome. And the reason why I love that so much is everything's so simple and there's not a lot to go wrong.
But
You know,
you at least have power
if it-
windows. You have a radio.
It has 4 wheels and it goes and it stops. That's
Yep.
all.
And
I
the radio
couldn't be more
doesn't
grateful
turn
about.
off. Once the radio doesn't turn off when you turn off the car. One and
I
two.
have
The
the
whole
switch
stopping
for
thing.
it.
The whole stopping thing, Kevin. I think I remember 1 or 2 distinct times where I actually borrowed that car when I left you with my car, and the stopping thing wasn't all that great because
What?
the tires you
Dude,
had.
I got new tires.
Finally.
Yeah.
Good God, when you're going into a pole at 30 miles an hour because you barely tapped
Next
on the
time you're
brakes.
not getting my car. I'm
Why
gonna give
did-
you my bike that doesn't run.
Oh, by the way, you have a bike. We
Yeah.
didn't mention the bike. So he
Yeah.
has a Delta box. He has a Thundercat Yamaha, which he purchased and said, "Bro, I got a bike. We're gonna ride." And
I
I'm
took it
bored of
apart
this, and I haven't
then
done
I
anything
never
with
fixed
it.
it.
But also, Kevin is known as the human DSG.
Wait, you want to still talk about the Jetta? That's
is
fine.
He is one of the fastest shifters. Actually, fun fact. This is a fun fact, and I'm gonna
The
put
first
this out
time I
there.
actually did this, Christof was rolling in the car laughing.
Well, I want everyone to know we're going to start our own Wikipedia page for this. The DSG transmission was actually created because of Kevin.
they caught wind of how fast I am.
Kevin's ability to shift gears, whether it's up, down, doesn't matter.
I can't do it in the 240 though, only in the Jetta.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. They
If you
heard.
can do it in one instance, that's all that matters.
They heard about his shifting times, and they're like, "Well, fuck this. We need to make a transmission that needs to." Well, we're gonna have to do a video of it and post it to the page because
Absolutely.
it is probably
I could do all 5 gears in about half a second.
it's in the slowest car, which is what
Yeah.
makes it so humorous. Is the fact that you're hearing it wind up, going,
Oh.
and you're doing 20 miles an hour. But
So what did you do this week?
what did I do? Why am I going next? You go next.
I didn't really do it.
You
All
just
I-
you
well,
just did. You just
so
did
I
something.
walked in the garage and Casper's
balls deep in a
motorboating in his Volvo yet again.
So all I did today was swap wires, cap, and rotor because the plugs are fresh, but I
On the
didn't
Volvo.
actually- on the
Yep.
Volvo, I
Yep.
didn't actually get around to doing the full tune-up prior. So it has a new ignition coil. I just did wires, cap, and rotor, and for the most part of the week, I've just been researching catch can options for the car because I'm having
blow-by issues.
I'm having a decent amount of blow-by issues, which I really don't think is the motor, but I don't want to dump the money into a compression test to make my hopes and dreams all crushed again. So
Blow it up.
So I'm looking into options of how people have run, not replaced the crankcase vent system for the car, but how they have assisted it with a catch can setup for this car. So we're gonna order through the Bearded Detailer and go with my PCV components, and then while we're doing that, I'll probably swap over and toss in a nice little catch can in there to see if that helps me with my wonderful chimney of a dipstick tube. So
while we're talking about the 2.0, Louis said that a buddy of his with a 2.0 cammed it. It was a Jetta wagon. It was a 2-point slow, and he cammed it and did head work and a UM tune. And he said he.
What is
loves
head
it.
work?
I don't
want to know
know
what head work is.
He said the wagon might
Port
be at Wookiees in
and-
the Woods 2017 too. So we might get to see it.
Did he port and polish? Or
It's a stroker, maybe.
I really don't see the point of that because they don't rev really high.
The power band is really narrow on those. On that motor.
They're meant more.
He said
for
he did bigger valves.
bigger.
Wait,
Okay.
Intake or exhaust?
1 millimeter oversized valves. I really don't see that unless you're in like force induction application.
It does rev high, he said.
It does rev high.
Yeah.
Well, does it like have?
Well,
I'm
if
not
it's
gonna-
tuned, it
He
has
must
like-
have put a VR6 head on it. That's what happened.
That's digging
it's-
into more I want to do to that thing.
It's a 4 to 6
Because if you
conversion.
want to rev it, so I think stock redline on it's like 65 or 6 on that. So like
He said tectonic valves, he said.
tectonic valves. So if you want to rev it out to 8, so you need valve springs to go along with that too.
And what's
And-
awesome is you still get fuel
And
economy with
solid
this car.
lifters,
you still
so
get
it can
fuel
sound like
economy.
a truck when you start it up.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I love people who dig into like 2 liters like that. I'm like
You're
you
going out-
really
you're outside of the box. You're
you're doing like that VR6 thing. You're like, I'm gonna put cams and like blah blah blah. And like, mind you, I did the same thing. So
Yep.
I'm like I'm gonna poke fun at myself too.
But that didn't make a difference, did it not? I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
it definitely did, and that's why I want to do just like a little bit of things to that. Like honestly, you're all laughing at it, but I really do want to put a tune and cam on that thing.
Dude,
down the line.
I'm not even.
I'm all for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
because when
Agreed.
you do that, your shit combined with your
shit.
shifting.
Volkswagen is going to go back to the drawing board for a
Yeah.
whole new setup
like,
and
oh
get more
God.
line.
Combine it with your shifting.
He's 7/10 quicker.
And Louis said cams are $150 for that car.
Oh yeah, they are dirt cheap.
Are you
That's why.
serious?
Yeah.
$150.
Well, it's a cam because it's a single overhead on
Yeah,
that.
but still.
So yeah, it's one cam, and it's
That's
$150.
fucking
So I could do that. When I'm doing a timing belt, I'm gonna do it. I might do it next week.
Why not?
Why not?
All right. Well, I don't see anyone else on Instagram Live saying what they did this week. Louis, what'd you do this week? Who we got? We got Louis. I think I saw
have a strong feeling.
I saw
that
Danny
Louis
and Dom
probably-
also
He
in here.
probably detailed the car this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'll say what I did. I did.
Excuse me.
I did spark plugs, oil change, and clean out the air filter on the Audi. That's probably all I did this week. I cleaned the
Spark
R32.
plugs.
Yeah, so Audi's weird. So I have a 15A4. What I did is I did the OEM plugs, but I guess with Audi intervals, because I checked into the service intervals here. So for the
Is
A4,
it still 40K?
So it is, but they have you do your first one at 35. It's weird.
Okay.
You change it at 35, and then from then on out, it's 40. It's really weird.
I remember at the dealer it was no, I think it was
Well,
40 or 60.
It depends on the engine,
plugs.
because
For the turbo, yeah, I think you're
they
right.
were 60 for
Two
the
fives,
BPYs.
2.5s were 60, I think.
And the BPYs were too.
And the 2 liters are 40.
But the 3.2 was 40. Yeah, it is weird knowing all this stuff. But so yeah, it was 35K. So I did the spark plugs, OEM, whatever. I get good pricing on the plugs, so I didn't really care about that.
I get good pricing
Yeah, which I pass that savings on to everybody else. Anyway, so I did that. Changed the oil. I use liquid moly oil, which Kevin schooled me on some liquid moly facts this morning because
Yes,
I
I
reps
did.
up by the shop. But I'm not going to change anything. OEM, which I would. One thing I will say, one thing I love about the Audi is using the suction tool to change the oil.
That's the way they do it at the dealer.
Dealership. Yep, it's
Which
fantastic.
I get and I don't get, because you're gonna put the car up in the air anyway. But that
well, for home, I don't have to.
for
put it
at
up in there.
home,
Yeah.
but for a dealer, like you want to take the belly pan off. You want to
Inspect.
look under there
Yeah.
and see if you have some leaks or whatever. Which I understand, because I've done some of the oil changes, especially on the V8s, and you take that plug out, it just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
And all the new stuff, oil filters on top and everything. So it does make sense for at home. I really don't understand why they don't do it like that at the like they don't do it the traditional way at
Right.
the dealer.
Well, the other thing too is the Audi pan is very, very thin. You can feel that it's super thin. Also, all the drain plugs and the crush washers are painted over.
Yep.
So the first time
Yeah,
I
the
went to
first one.
remove it, I couldn't get a good seal when I put it back together because I couldn't get it lined up in the right exact spot where it was where I removed the old one.
Did you have a new crush washer, or did you reuse
I had
it?
a new crush washer.
Yeah, okay.
but I couldn't get it lined up to the old where the paint was.
Ah.
So once I finally got to stop leaking, I dumped a lot of oil on the floor. I was pretty pissed off about it. But once I got it to sealed, I'm like, you know what? Buying the extractor, and I'm doing it that way from here on out. I haven't touched the crush washer since. So I'm like, nope, not doing it. And it gets most of it out, and it's nice having.
You're never gonna get all of that oil out.
No,
matter-
even if you do it the traditional way, you're not gonna do it.
No,
either.
there's always gonna be probably a half a quart or so, probably left in the
Yeah,
engine.
and unless you start it with nothing in it, which is
You should definitely do that. Next
Yeah,
time you do your oil
absolutely
change,
do that.
that
pull
is-
the drain plug,
that is
pull the filter,
mechanic-
and run it for I'd say about 7 to 8 minutes until you
Which is basically as long as you're going to be able to run
until
it
the
for.
smoking stops, and then you're
that's
done.
a pro tip from
Yeah.
Kevin.
Make sure you use a Fram oil filter when you're done.
Yeah, Fram oil filter. Run it without once you drain all the oil, make sure everything's out of there.
You can actually just flush it with water, and that'll be
Yeah,
fine.
and I heard sugar as well helps.
Sugar,
it's an
sand,
abrasive. Yeah, it's an
sand
abrasive. And it helps
helps.
clean it really
It
well.
it cleans out the oil passages.
Yes. I'm definitely kidding. Holy shit! If anyone,
Nobody follow that.
I'm gonna put the disclaimer out here now. If any of you do that, I'm not paying for your shit. Neither is Kevin. Neither is Casper. Neither is the bearded detailer. None of that. So Louis said that he started his R32 this week, and
It started. Thank God.
It started. Which Louis
I can
has
hear those chains ticking a
No,
mile. Oh wait.
no.
Oh, is this the dude that was having all the
Chicago.
all the problems?
No. Louis did.
Or is that the dude in Florida?
That's a dude in Florida who doesn't have the car anymore.
Is it a Mark V owner?
No, he's Mark IV owner.
Oh, good guy.
Red. Actually, Louis got a lot of stuff done to his car.
Yeah.
He just recently got it
He
back
has,
a little
he
bit.
has
I'm really
all
looking
the
forward to seeing
NA
it.
stuff.
All the NA stuff.
All the NA
100%.
stuff.
And I think he just had I don't know if it was a rebuild or a refresh done to the motor, trans.
Louis, is the car
chains,
coming out to
cams.
Wookies this year? Because I met Louis last year and the car was not there. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
I believe Louis said it's coming out this week.
If you guys pick me up at the airport, I tell you this.
I have no problem. You get a ticket down to North
I have
Carolina.
to figure out
We'll get
logistics.
you.
Like, dude, logistics. I will come and I'll just be like
take
wasted the whole time.
Louis said it is coming, and Jeremy has joined us too. So, but yeah, no, Louis, I think. Do you have the wave track diff? Do you have the front or the rear? Or do you have both? I can't remember if you have. But yeah, I know. I think he did.
That's
update diff.
that's not cheap stuff.
No.
That's not cheap stuff. I could only nut up for the cams. That's all I could do.
But I mean,
when had mine.
I've seen videos of these turboed Mark IVs with the wave track diffs, just actually being able to do dry pavement.
Oh yeah,
donuts,
they'll light all 4 tires.
but
up.
doing legitimate rear wheel drive donuts.
Oh yeah, that too.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Jeremy says, "Hey Kevbo."
Hey,
Or
Kevbo.
Kev Bay, actually.
Kev Bay.
Oh.
Shout out to J Rock.
So Louis says the rear is not installed, but hoping to be on by Wookiees.
Does he have the front one done?
I'm assuming since he
I
said
think,
the
I think
rear
he
is
did have
not
the front
installed.
one done now that I think about it. See, I've had all these conversations and I forget the details just because I get blackout. Anyway. But I know Jeremy tried doing his muffler delete pipe from Fab Speed this week when I went and met up with him, but
He
everything
tried?
everything was so seized.
Yeah, you gotta.
Bad.
Everything has to be cut off
Yeah.
or used with a torch.
Yeah.
You can't reuse anything. Everything's gonna be so gnarly on that thing.
Well, the problem he had was the heat shield that covers the catalytic converter. Everything was just so freaking. It's original hardware. It's 30 years old. Ridiculous. So, but yeah,
Well then.
this has been
Good time.
such a good time.
So elegant. I loved it.
I don't want this to stop.
We need to make it
smooth
stop.
as
Too much
purchase.
of anything.
Too much
It's
of
not good.
anything is not a good
Even
thing.
if it's good.
Except for alcohol. No, that's not true.
mean-
if you're an alcoholic, I apologize.
So Jeremy says that the rust
Was indeed rusty.
Yes.
So
the rust was rusty.
the rust was rusty.
1980s.
Well, shit.
80 was it? What is this car?
86,
86 or 87?
86.
There may be a touch or two of rust on that car.
And I got to drive his car and didn't kill anybody.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm
And
super glad.
I think Jeremy actually would let me drive that car again, unlike you.
So Louis, sorry to cut you off, says that the front wave track is already installed
Yep.
with new forks when the clutch and chains were done. So
Oh,
Okay.
the USP upgraded upgraded shift forks.
Yeah, I know Louis had a boatload of work done last year on the car, so I'm excited for him
Do
to
it
bring
nice
the car.
or do it twice.
It's yeah, do it right. I mean, it's that goes back to everything we've talked about, and whatever.
but yeah,
Like I said, I got to drive. Actually, I think our whole driving thing with me started with Jeremy's S4, which now Derek owns. When I got to drive the S4,
that car is getting passed around rather quickly.
like
I think Derek will hold on to it for a
Yeah,
little bit.
I hope Derek
He
does.
didn't do it until I can buy it.
That's a really nice car. It's a B5 S4 with bullshit everything done. I mean,
all the upgrades.
really good stuff. What was that estimated for power?
Very fast. It made over 5 on pump gas.
Yeah, that was
No, race fuel made 5. It makes like 4. It makes 4 and change.
torquey though.
But
Real
torquey
yeah.
son of a gun.
And that was the big difference the first time I drove your car.
Yeah,
the
you're like, when
Nissan-
is it gonna go?
Yeah, there's not. It's not torquey.
No,
it
it's
has
not.
torque, but it's not.
It's
European
not. No,
torque,
it's not
yeah.
the same.
And it also has something similar to VTEC, which is it's a valve lift, right?
Yeah, there's two profiles on the can, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's like VTEC.
So when you gun it, you get the valve lift, and you're like, oh, that's boost. That sucks. And then by the time you
Nope.
finish thinking, by the time you're done thinking that phrase, boost actually kicks in. You're like, oh, no, that wasn't. This is boost. Oh,
Yeah.
God. And it's a lot of fun. But, well, I think that's everything. Do we have any more on Instagram that we need to go through here? Or Derek is babysitting for Kevin. It's true. Okay.
That's good. It's a good thing to know.
Louis says it's not nice to pay twice. That is right. Louis says he's having fun.
That's pretty much all we're getting.
I think that's all we're really getting.
Awesome.
But
Louis asked an awesome question. Will there be a live episode from Wookiees in the Woods?
you know what? Louis. I'm so happy you brought that up. I was speaking with Crystal about this the other day. Due to internet connection, I think it'll be tough. I think we will record down there.
They don't have hardwired internet.
No. So at the cabins, Wi-Fi is spotty.
I've
Louis
heard-
tunes off of Wi-Fi.
I've heard. You have to go to like that central.
We have to go to the
spot
main
get-
lodge,
Yeah,
which we might.
and
be
cell phone
able to.
reception blows too.
If we don't broadcast it live on Instagram, we might definitely record.
Yeah.
Um,
And then just send it out afterwards or
Yeah.
launch it on Monday.
So I have to work out the details out on that. Well, shit. First time talking with this mouth today. I'm sorry. I'm gonna figure that out, Louis, for Wookiees. What you got here? Hardwire episode would be cool. I definitely want to consider that because we'll be down there. There's gonna be lots of people who. It would be awesome to talk to some of these people that are going to be showing up to that event, and it would be a great way to get the word out there and share a lot of different driving experiences from different drivers from all over the country that do come to this event. Wookiees in the Woods, for those of you who don't know, is the premier R32 Golf R get-together that happens every year at Fontana, at the Fontana Lodge down in North Carolina on the Tennessee border. If you've never heard of Tail of the Dragon, please look it up. It is one of the I will say it is the best road I've ever driven on in my life. It is so much fun. 318 turns and 11 miles.
Yep.
It is fantastic, and big props to Abe, who every year puts this thing together. I just saw this morning that registration closed last night for the RBQ. So, but yeah, it is probably. Honestly, that event is the reason why I really don't want to go to shows anymore, because I'm sick and tired of seeing the same stupid scene crap at the same stupid shows all the time. I'll go to a Cars and Coffee twice a year maybe. But
So that tells you how Christof feels about the car scene. So I don't even think we need to do the episode anymore.
But going to that event, you actually get to drive your car for what you put it together as. I don't want to say built because that's a sensitive topic for some people. Built, not bought. But you spend all year putting your car together to do something, and I don't like putting my car together just to go park in a parking lot and go, look at my car. Yeah, okay. What does your car do when you go around in 90?
Leave it for the scene episode.
You know? So,
Well, it's not a Volvo, which can take
any
a
turn in the United States at 90 miles an hour. Anyway,
Factual.
That's a different story too. But no, Louis will definitely.
Volkswagen is sponsoring the RBQ.
Yes, VW has actually sponsored the RBQ. I don't know if this is the third year or the second year that they've
Consistencies.
sponsored it. But actually, VW has sponsored some element of the Wookiees in the Woods event every year, which is nice. They recently started doing the RBQ. So,
Awesome.
but that's it. Kevin, we want to thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been great. Kacper, as always, thank you for coming.
Fuck you both. I mean,
and next week, I don't have my phone in front of me, but next week's going to be episode 5.
Is there a special guest?
Is there a special guest next week? What is next
We
week?
have to double check our schedule.
I have to double check.
When is the scene episode?
Oh,
That is not next week, the week after.
Who's on for that one?
No one so far.
I want to be on for that one.
Please. Please.
I'll tell you how it is.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Oh yes.
Works for us, man.
Yeah, so that's going to be February 18th recording, which is my
Alright.
birthday. On that note, I think we're
Wrap it up here.
I think we're done.
I think we are done.
So if you have any questions, please hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can send us an email at gearshiftpodcast@gmail.com. If you are a business that wants to get your name out there and sponsor the show, please contact us there as well. We'd love to be able to promote other brands and other businesses as well. I don't want it to be the Bearded Detailer happy hour. That's not what I want. It's kind of what it is right now. I'm okay with it. Anyway, so we'll be back for episode 5 next week, guys. Stay tuned, and thank you all for joining back. I'm Christof.
I'm Kacper.
Kevin.
And this has been Gear Shift. Gear Shift Podcast is a production of Gear Shift. If you have any questions, please email us at gearshiftpodcast@gmail.com or visit us on Facebook.